Hi, I'm Derek, the founder of Striver, and I'm going to give you a quick demo of what Striver can do. I've just logged in as a teacher and I can see the dashboard in front of me. I'm going to click into activities. So activities are the building blocks of Striver. They're a combination of skills which pupils have to carry out under a specific time limit, usually of 1 minute, from which they get a score. And these scores are then used to measure progress and are used to enable the children to take part in challenges, competitions, whether that be on their own or as a class or as their school. I'm just going to click into one now to give you a little sample. Let's go for Fly Try. And I'm going to press play in the video.
Fly Try. 2 cones placed 5 meters apart are split by a square of cones in the middle with a side length of 0.5 meters. The striver starts behind one of the outside cones with a ball in their hands. When the whistle blows, the striver sprints straight to the center of the square of cones without touching any of the cones. The striver then sidesteps out of the square and sprints to the opposite cone, touching the ball down behind the cone to score a point. The striver then repeats this process, now heading in the opposite direction, and aims to score as many points as possible before the final whistle blows. Rules. The whole of the ball must be behind the cone and in contact with both the ground and the striver to score a point. Any cones which are moved during the task must be placed back in their original positions before a striver can continue with the task. 2 hands must be on the ball at all times. The striver must sidestep out of the square and not change the direction they're facing. Tips. Run on the balls of your feet. Don't turn your body when getting out of the square, keep facing your target and sidestep when needed.
On each activity page, you have a range of information which has already been relayed in the video. An explanation of how to carry out the activity, the equipment needed, the rules, tips, and of course some ideas to extend pupils. We also have an activity sheet which can be downloaded for each activity. If we click on it, we see there's a handy little A4 takeaway, double-sided, so you've got all the information we've just seen. And you've also got extra ideas for games which kids can take part in, which will really help develop those skills so they can get better scores in the activity. So these are really handy little takeaways that teachers can print out and give to their striver captains or bring outside themselves when doing the activity. So teacher starts a sequence of lessons, and how are they going to use this? Well, if their sequence of lessons is, say, on tag rugby to do with their rugby skills, the teacher might choose Fly Try for the children to carry out at the beginning of the sequence of lessons and also at the end. So a pupil will have a go at Fly Try at the very beginning of the lesson, the sequence of lessons. They'll get a score, and if they do the same activity at the end, hopefully they'll get a better score, and so you can see a clear improvement. So the teacher can use that as a measure of how they've improved over the sequence of lessons. And the teacher, of course, can get the pupils to carry out Fly Try as much as they want during this sequence of lessons. They don't just have to do it at the beginning and at the end. They can use this also in addition to their lessons to help develop skills. So once a teacher has chosen their particular activity, they can click on here, choose the class they want it to assign to, and then enroll my class. Within this, they get the options of choosing the start date, the end date, any notes, and then down here you've got some figures on the let me see, the medal percentages. So as default, if a pupil improves by, say, 10% on their score, they get a bronze medal. 15% they get a silver medal, and 20% they get a gold medal. But what this option here gives you is you have the ability to change these to suit the needs of your class, and you can even do it for certain pupils as well. I'm just going to cancel out of that one, and we're going to go back to our categories. So there's a long list of categories and activities to choose from, as you can see, covering a wide range of sports that are covered in primary schools. But not only do you have the basic Striver ones that we have already uploaded onto the site, teachers and schools have the ability to create their own. If I click on this button here, you get to add your own media, add your own documents. So teachers can create their own, add their own videos and use those maybe to challenge other classes and even to challenge other schools. And when they do that, they'll be able to load those up. They'll just add it onto our master list. So other schools, any other Striver schools will be able to use them as well. Getting your pupil details onto Striver is very straightforward. From the top here, you can choose to add a class, simply entering a name, choosing a year group, making them discoverable for challenges. And then to add pupils to that class, you click down here and you get the option to add them individually or from a CSV file. And we have some other useful bits of functionality in here too. From here, you can also set the house teams for each pupil. You can print their passwords and logins in a nice format to give home. And also, if you don't wish to enter your scores straight into Striver when you're outside, maybe you haven't got much wireless connectivity, you have a score sheet which can be generated based on the class you've chosen. So that's very useful. You might see that some of the pupils have this special C beside their names. And what this denotes is, if I scroll down, you'll be able to see, is that they are a Striver captain. And that means when they log in to their own Striver account, they actually get extra functionality compared to the other pupils. And what they can do is they can enter the scores just like a teacher can. So we aim to take the onus away from the teacher. We don't want to add to the teacher workload. And what we have created are these Striver captains, which we want to lead the Striver activities around the school. So they have the functionality to enter scores themselves, to take the onus away from the teacher. So let's have a look at a task that 4MC are currently involved in and see how the scoring works. So 4MC are taking part in the ball swap task. And as you can see, we have the list of pupils down the left, their base score beside that, and then we also have their percentage improvement, so how much they're improving on after each goal. So that's their best percentage improvement, which is being displayed. So let's have a look at James Smith. Let's enter a new score, and let's give him a score of 11 this time. Come down here, press Save Changes. Now this is very useful. You get prompted to use these scores also in a challenge that this class is involved in and a competition. We're not going to take them for now, but what this means is you don't have to duplicate entering scores. So if this pupil is taking part in a ball swap challenge and a ball swap competition, he just needs to enter the scores once. So press OK for that. And let's have a look at James Smith and let's zoom in. So we've just entered a score of 11, and this is the view you get for each pupil. You get a graph on which you can see the bronze level parameter, the silver, the gold medal, and you can see how that pupil's doing with each attempt. So the base score was 10. We see all the attempt numbers, the score he got for each one, the percentage improvement, and you can see the medal haul, which that pupil has won as well. You can see PB beside their personal best score. You also have the option to add scores individually in here. And what you can do is, within this, you can give the special Striver medal. And this can be used if pupils aren't quite getting better scores, but you want to reward, say, their effort or their teamwork, or you can give them this special Striver medal as well. If I go back to the overall class results, I'm just going to show you a little extra bit of functionality down the bottom, as well as having the scores compiled individually for every challenge, competition, or task that's running in Striver. And the house scores are automatically being compiled behind the scenes. So whatever you're doing, the activity, the task, challenge, whatever you're doing, you can always have this competition, these competition results to show pupils at the end, to add that extra element of competition. Okay, so we've talked about tasks. Let's have a look at challenges. So as well as running tasks where the kind of rewards are individual, teachers can also set up and take part in challenges. So here we have 4MC and Mr. Cox, he's got two classes, 4MC and 4PO, and they're taking part in a ball swap challenge. So let's just have a look at view results. So what it means is that the scores which are entered through the task, or they can be entered straight through the challenge down here, are compiled into a nice graph, so we can have two classes competing against each other. And similarly, you can have schools competing against each other too. If I go back to my challenges, I'm just going to show you how easy it is to create a challenge. So once again, you're choosing your activity, set the dates, and then you can challenge classes from your own school, from other schools, or you can simply challenge schools as well. It doesn't have to be class-based competitions. You're going to set the challenge name, the notes, and then they will receive a little message will come through, and they'll be able to accept or take part in the challenge if they want to or not. Down here, we have a list of whole school challenges as well. So as we said, these can be class-based challenges or challenges for the whole school. If I take you back to the dashboard, you'll see what else Striver has to offer. Let's scroll down and have a look at lesson plans. So here we have a large list of lesson plans covering a range of sports, covering a range of different year groups. Let's click on, say, tag rugby as an example. Press download, and we'll see a cover page with all the objectives covered, and then individual lesson plans for each one of those. Let's go back and have a look at some others. Let's see, can we have a look at athletics? I'm going to click on year 1 and 2. So we have the same cover page, and then we have in a different format the athletics ones, our lesson plans as such. If I scroll back up, one of the useful things we have on our cover pages are some suggested activities. So this is a sequence of lessons on athletics, and we have some activities, suggested ones that you can run in unison with these, as we said, to measure progress, to run competitions in your school. Let's go back and back to the dashboard. So what other resources have we got? Let's click on resources down here. We have just released this year our progression of skills document. So what you can use to assess at the end of each year. So for each year group, we have a list of objectives split into different areas, which you can use to assess pupils against, which you can make a judgment on whether then they've achieved or met the required standard for their year group. We've also got a list of assemblies based around developing a growth mindset, and they focus on some fantastic Olympic stories and some sporting heroes from the past. We also have some printable certificates. As we know, sometimes it's nice to not just have them virtual, but maybe you want to use these in your celebration assemblies at the end of the week too. At various points over the school year, we run our own competitions, which schools can take part in. So on the dashboard, they go to the competitions page, and then they'll be able to see which open competitions they can enter. Everything I've explained in this demo you can find smaller little guides in our 60-second video guides page. So all those things that I kind of ran through, you can see very clear explanations step by step of what to do if you want to carry out those little tasks. So that wraps up the kind of teacher view Next, we're going to log in as a pupil. Pupils log in on the same page as teachers. They just choose the pupil option up the top. They enter the username and password and sign in. So the very first thing they see is their medal hall up the top, and they can see what tasks and challenges and competitions they're currently involved in. And of course, as the teacher can, they can view the scores as well, which come up in the exact same format. Well, let's go back a step and let's just show you the special options that James Smith has, because he is a Striver captain. He could press enter results, choose something that he's involved in. Let's choose the task ball swap. And he has the functionality to enter scores for all the pupils in his class, taking the onus off the teachers. That brings us to the end of our demo. If you have any questions or are looking for any more information, please go to our website, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.